Welcome to the Anglotopia Podcast Quarantine Edition. It's been a while since we had a podcast.
I think we should probably take these
off. We don't have to have these on where we live together.
Yeah. But we wanted to show them.
Yeah. These are our new face masks that we're selling in the Anglotopia shop, made by a British company. This one is a map of London, and this one is obviously a Union Jack, and we have plenty. So if you would like one, go to store.anglotopia.net. We'll also put a link in the show notes, and it just helps keep you safe and let everyone know you're an Anglophile as well.
And you help keep others safe, and they're machine washable, which is
they're
really nice.
reusable and washable, and they're really well made. They're made by Splash Maps, which we used to offer their products a few years ago. They're really high quality, so we've been very pleased with them. So this is we're at the end of May now. We've been in quarantine since early March.
Strange times.
Indiana has started to open up.
Yep.
And so we're not really in quarantine anymore here. We're kind of still keeping the house isolated because we live in the middle of nowhere, so we can do that. And so we're just trying to keep our distance from everybody. You know, we've
So we figured we'd start with a little bit of an update.
Yeah, we've
just on how we're doing and how Anglotopia is doing.
We had to stop the podcast because at one point we had our Jackie's sister staying with us, and we've got the kids home because they're not in school, and so there was just too much.
Noisy.
A lot of noise, especially with 3 adults working from home.
Yes.
It was just there was too much to even think about recording a podcast, but. The sister has since left, and we miss her dearly.
Yeah, it was nice. It
was nice having an extra pair of hands and having a company.
She lives somewhere a little more urban, and it was nice for her to be able to kind of come out to the country and, less populated, a nice outdoor space, that kind of thing. And so that was really helpful. So why don't we start with, personal updates, because maybe... People want to know. Maybe people don't want to know. If you don't, we're fast forward.
We can always fast forward. We're able to record this today because there's nobody here.
Yeah,
the kids went to their grandparents, who luckily they stayed healthy the whole time, and
everybody's been really isolated.
Everyone's been really isolated, so they were able to go there for the weekend, which was heaven.
Bliss for them too. I mean, because it's really hard.
Yeah,
being home.
They love their grandparents' house. Our son, that's his happy place.
They're very rural too.
They're very rural, and they have a little hobby farm. So the kids love it there. So, but as personal updates, let's see. The last time we recorded a podcast was January, I think. Wasn't it?
Like January or the beginning of February. It snowed that day. I remember it snowed that day.
I'm now working full-time outside of Anglotopia.
While doing Anglotopia too.
But I'm now it's now a side hustle again. I'm doing it on the nights and then the weekends. I'm working for, I don't think they would mind if I mention them because they're an online company. I'm working for Black Knight in Ireland. They're Ireland's biggest web host and domain registrar. And they...
Sorry.
My phones are ringing.
My phone was on silent, and it's still need to be in do not
so
disturb.
I'm heading up international marketing and communications there, and that's keeping me busy during the days. And Jackie had started a new job.
I can do mine.
Okay. Yeah.
So thanks. So really interesting for me. I made a really big career transition at the very beginning of March, and I worked for the company in their office for a total of 4 days, and then Chicago was quarantined, and I worked from home for them for a couple of weeks, and was really excited to do the job and was really looking forward to it. And then really without notice I was furloughed until September. That's the plan as of now. I haven't heard if that date's changed or not changed. And so, like many Americans and many people globally, I am officially out of work right now. And just trying to kind of navigate what that looks like and trying to, file for benefits that I'm entitled to. And that's been a lot. It's I know that I'm not alone in this, and that, there are millions of Americans and listeners globally who have been in this spot, and we're really thankful to the fans of Anglotopia, to the people who have bought masks. They say when you support a small business, you're helping pay for ballet lessons for somebody's, kid, but you guys are literally helping us keep food on our table right now. So really from the bottom of my heart, and I'll try not to get too emotional about it, but from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much for your purchase of the masks. They're keeping food on our table and, filling a gap where my income would be.
Yeah, so we're very lucky that we were able to do the masks, and that was, yeah. So enough about us.
Yeah, because that's
not why you're
kind of boring.
Listening to the Anglotopia podcast. Let's talk about Britain.
Can I introduce the topic?
I was going to do a couple Anglotopia updates.
Oh, okay.
So the magazine, we had to suspend production
because our printer isn't printing.
Because the printer wasn't printing, but they have resumed printing, and we have not finished the magazine. So we will be submitting it to the printer very soon. So we hope to have it done by the end of the month.
We're also not sure if there's a backlog for printing too. So we're working with the printer.
It's still a fluid situation, but
to try and get that to you guys as soon as possible.
We're trying to get the magazine out as soon as we can. And we're very grateful that we actually can continue the magazine. We were worried that we wouldn't be able to. So we're very glad that it's going to go to press. And then, as you saw, we're selling the face masks now on our online store, link in the show notes. And
they're really comfortable too.
Yeah, they're more comfortable than the N95 one we had.
I know we're selling them, so that's a little biased. And I've been making cotton ones at home, kind of giving them out as I see people who have a need. But honestly, they're really comfortable. I don't get that suffocating feeling in them, and I really like that.
And then the big news. And is that I have a book coming out. Actually, the book, by the time you listen to this, the book will have already come out, technically.
Yeah, Monday, right?
Yeah, this is not going out before Monday.
June 1st?
June 1st. So, the book this is 90% of what it looks like. This was the proof. It is a hardcover. It's Adventures in Anglotopia. And
John, why did you write Adventures in Anglotopia?
I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, tell us all about it.
It's called subtitle The Makings of an Anglophile, and I've always wanted to write a proper book about Britain ever since I started Anglotopia, and a few years ago I finally kind of latched onto the idea that I wanted to do. And the number one question I get asked by everybody is, why am I such an Anglophile? Why do I love Britain so much? And I never really had a good answer for it. It's something I've always had a love for, that I never really had a good explanation of why am I this unusual.
Baffles me every day, folks.
And so the goal of the book was to answer that question. And it took 3 years to write and get to press. It was a long process, and there will be a link in the show notes to the article where I talk about the process of writing the book for those who are interested. I know not many people will be, but it was a long process, and it's a process that took me from Indiana to Britain and back a couple times.
Yeah.
And
the spine of Britain.
Yeah, when we did the Lands in the John O'Groats drive, and each chapter is sort of a capsule of a bit of British culture that I love or that interests me, coupled with experiences that I've had and that we've had together in 20 years of travel around Britain. So it's part travel memoir, part cultural exploration, part appreciation of British history. and it's 300 pages. It comes out in hardcover on June 1st. There will be an ebook version as well, available on all the ebook platforms. You can buy it from any bookstore. I mean, you'll have to order it from your local independent bookstore because they won't stock it.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. You just give them the title or the ISBN number, which will be in the show notes, and they can order a copy for you. You can order on Amazon. You can order it from Barnes & Noble. You can order it from all the independent bookstore websites. What's it called? There will be links in the show notes. You can get it on all the Kindle. You can get it on iBooks. Everywhere. It's everywhere. Except audio. There isn't an audio version. So it's available now. We're very, very pleased how the book did in the pre-order phase. I sold enough books in the pre-order phase to make what I went through to write the book worth it. And my goal, books are different than the other things we do because there's royalties and they take a long time to actually get. So my goal with the book is to use the royalty money to hopefully go to England in 2021.
When it's safe to do so.
When it's safe to do so, assuming international travel resumes. It's been by then it'll be almost 3 years since we've been to Britain, and I miss it dearly.
Wow.
So the goal of the book is to tell my Anglophile story, hopefully give you a few interesting vignettes about Britain, and to hopefully use the royalties to go back. Now, like I said, it's available everywhere. I'll put links. If you go to adventuresinanglotopia.com, it will tell you everywhere you can buy the book. And if you buy it directly from us, I will sign it and inscribe it. So that's enough about Anglotopia's updates. Now to the meat of the podcast, which is your idea.
Okay, so the idea for this episode came about as we were talking about our favorite things to do in Britain and a beautiful British summer. And I know we've done a British summer podcast before, so we are going to do, since it's quarantine, since some of us are still in quarantine or in various states of quarantine, we are going to do how to staycation Britain style. So how to create a British vacation as best you can at home. So we've kind of put our thinking caps on, and we've even been really lucky to kind of find some of these experiences and tips firsthand, just doing them ourselves, while, pretty much while being home. I mean, we really haven't done anything British related outside of the house.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, just because we all can't go there right now doesn't mean we still can't have British experiences at home. And this is something that we had to do in the years when we couldn't travel. And, we like to say we think of Britain as our second home, and we miss it when we're not there. So we try to incorporate the things we've experienced and done there in our home life so that we don't feel as disconnected from it. And so we thought it'd be fun to give you some ideas on how you can have a nice British summer at home.
Well, a British summer at home or a British staycation weekend. And if you take enough of these experiences and tips and tricks and put them all together, hopefully it feels a little bit like a British vacation. So let's start with food.
Okay.
Right? Because I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things to do just in general is eat. And one of my most favorite things to do when we're in Britain is eat. And I know we've done a whole thing on British food. You could probably link in the show notes to British food, but one of the amazing things about Britain is its cuisine. So there are lots of different ways that you can do British food at home. So you can get yourself a good British cookbook. I've got a couple that I really like. The National Trust. It's the National Trust, right?
Yeah, it's the National Trust cookbook.
Puts out a beautiful cookbook.
I don't know where it is.
I think it's on your desk.
No, I put it somewhere.
Did you put it away? I wonder if is it on the table next to you? You can tell. We used it recently. But what I really like about the National Trust cookbook,
I don't know where it is
that you'll have to put a link to it, but is that you can find, the ingredients aren't so bizarre that you can't find them. Another really fun one that I've made recipes from, but I don't have a copy of, and I would love to have a copy, is the Fortnum and Mason cookbook. Sorry, that's our dog Gromit. A leaf blew through the yard, and now he has to bark about it. So a good British cookbook. Pick a couple recipes. If you can order groceries, order your groceries, or if you gotta go out, socially distance, be safe, and get what you need.
And then I guess another aspect would be tea.
Well, yeah, tea. Absolutely tea.
Having a tea party.
Yeah, why not? Oh my gosh, so much fun. Get yourself a nice pot.
Make a lemon cake.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Dude, how have we not done that?
Or a Victoria sponge.
Yes. I will say this about British baking. British baking is very different than American baking. And any of you who are fans of the Great British Bake Off, if you've ever tried to bake like something and going off a British recipe, I'm sure you're sitting there going, mm-hmm. Yeah, British baking, completely different than American baking. Like, totally different. But a challenge and a fun one. So, yeah, you could do a tea party. That's a really fun one. Nice big pot of tea, some cucumber sandwiches. Yummy. How about ordering British food? So, like, if you're not about baking, you're like, no.
Well, we actually entered into a new partnership with British Corner Shop, which is they're an online British grocery store. They're based in Britain, and their selling USP is that they ship worldwide affordably, and they literally have stock almost everything that a British grocery store would stock, and they stock Waitrose goods now. So we just actually did an order a few weeks ago.
We did. We were so homesick.
We were low on biscuits and
proper biscuits,
and some marmalade
and bread.
And that's the thing is British bread is so deliciously wonderful.
It is. It's different from American bread.
It's very different from American bread.
And it's huge.
And it's big, and it's rich, and
like
it's
a slice
lovely.
is bigger than my hand.
And you cannot find it here.
Nope.
The closest approximation is the bread that you can get at Whole Foods.
I think it's like the 365 brand.
Yeah, and so we ordered a couple loaves of British bread, and so we had
British white sandwich bread.
Yeah, British white toasted bread. It's designed for toasting.
Which for our American toaster was just like
it's too big for the toaster. It's funny, and so like I had my favorite breakfast when we travel is just scrambled eggs and marmalade toast, and I finally had it at home, and it was like being transported to England, and it was so good. So at the British Corner Shop, you can order pretty much anything that you miss.
You bought me pickle, and we bought clotted cream.
Yeah.
And we could find clotted cream here locally, but we wanted to order British clotted cream. What else did we get?
We got some new tea.
Yeah.
And then the big thing, which we'll seek into the thing we did a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
You can buy Nando's sauces.
Oh my god, you guys.
Now I know.
Oh my god.
Nando's is not British, but having a cheeky Nando's is a very British thing to do.
And it's one of our favorite.
Yeah, and it's one of
we've been out all night. In the neighborhood we stay in, there's a Nando's that's open really, really late, and it's well, we could just share where it is.
It's in Soho. And
it's so much fun.
Yeah, spicy chicken and
so good.
Chunky chips. It's so good. And we've been able to actually have that experience here because we have Nando's in Chicago now. And
Chicago's still closed.
It's 90% as good as it is in Britain.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she said, Chicago is still in lockdown. You can get it to go, but we're not going to drive an hour and a half to go get chicken to go.
Well, and that doesn't feel like the most socially responsible
it doesn't feel
thing to do.
like a smart thing to do anyway.
We want to respect, right?
So it's been a good 4 or 5 months since we've had Nando's.
Oh, yummy!
Not to mention that we haven't had the British version since we traveled there.
Let's do that for dinner tonight. Now I'm hungry. I'm thinking about Nando's.
So we bought the sauces from British Corner Shop.
Yes. But we bought a marinade.
We bought the marinade. And so you put the chicken in the bag with the sauce and then it marinates it.
No. I mean, I didn't put it in a bag. I just put it in a dish to thaw. And then I poured a lot of the marinade on top. And I just let it kind of thaw and like mingle with all that Nando's-y goodness.
Yeah,
oh my god, it was so good.
And she grilled the chicken like they would at Nando's. We had
so good, guys.
We had corn on the
So
cob,
good.
and
Like you would at Nando's.
And then,
well, that's his favorite.
And then the Whole Foods steak fries are like the closest.
That's the 365.
Yeah, the Whole
again.
Foods 365 steak fries. They're like the closest you can get to a British chunky chip here.
That we've found.
Found at least. And so we cooked a bag of those, and then we also bought the Nando's fry spice from British Corner Shop. And so we had ourselves a very homemade British Nando's dinner, and it was great.
It was divine. Like, I happen to have, like, when we go to Nando's, we always get the marinated olives to start. Yum. I happen to have those in the house. And then I love their cucumber salad. My mouth's watering thinking about it, sorry. But it's got pickled red onion in it, and I don't have pickled red onion. So it's literally cucumber, tomato, and red onion, and it's, like an Italian vinaigrette. Guys, like, I ate the whole bowl. Bowl.
So as you can see, we're making ourselves very hungry, and food is a great way to rekindle those memories of your trips. And then I think that's a good segue.
Well, can I say, too, that it's not just food, it's also drink.
Yeah.
Like, there are some, I know cocktails are really a thing right now, so if you do, look at how to make a Pims Cup. I was actually going to make one today for our video because
we didn't have all the ingredients.
It's quarantine, right? It's quarantine. So, but I was missing 2 ingredients. So my favorite Pims, and it's the Pims Cup, the first Pims Cup that I ever had was a bottle of Pims. Now, obviously, you want to, make enough for yourself. You're not going to use a whole bottle. A sparkling lemonade, or you can use Sprite, I've heard. So please do not send me letters. I know that this is not the traditional way to make it.
Put the recipe in the show notes.
Yeah. Strawberry, mint, lime, and strawberry, mint, orange, and cucumber. It's so good. It's like summer in a glass. Or gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Plain old gin and tonic. You can throw a slice of orange and rosemary. A British friend recommended it to me. Sprig of rosemary, slice of orange in there. Sounds a little odd, guys. Absolutely delicious.
And then you could have a pint too.
Yeah, you could have you could have a pint.
You should have it at room temperature, like a proper Brit.
Yeah.
I don't drink beer, so it's not something I would do. But.
No, but there are lots of great British cocktails, and if you can't, if you're stuck at home and you can't go, or maybe you just choose not to go out right now, which is okay too. Maybe some fun British cocktails that's a really fun way to kind of staycation. But you don't necessarily have to do it with alcohol either. I mean, I do know that there are mocktails out there if you don't drink alcohol, that's okay. Or there's tea, or there's lots of things. There's lots of great British drinks.
Lots and lots of tea.
Yeah, lots of tea.
Why don't we talk about some of our travel memories?
Oh, summer travel memories?
Yeah, we've been several times in the summer season. I think the first time we went was in 2010 on the trip that we like to forget, that we actually don't write about. I haven't written about.
Oh, yeah.
That was when I went over for a job interview, and read about this in the book. And it was a work trip, and so we weren't there for Anglotopia, but she was just pregnant with our son.
Yes.
And so
we found out less than a week.
Yeah, and so we traveled, and it was early July.
And I was very, very ill from being newly pregnant.
She had hyperemesis, but we didn't know that yet.
No, it was bad, guys. It was really bad.
It got much worse after we got home. So we were there at the first week of July, which is the height of British summer.
Yes.
And it was hot.
We were in London.
We were in London.
We were right by the Angel tube station.
No, it was Old Street.
Old Street, that's right.
And we stayed in a flat from somebody we knew who was out of town. And
who was very gracious and just said, "Hey, come crash in my flat." I'm not going to be there.
We paid her,
but still, I mean, it was.
But it was in a beautiful old Georgian building.
Yeah.
A brick terrace
brick.
It was beautiful,
guys, brick.
But it was a friggin' oven
In July.
and it's more of an oven if you're pregnant and you're with a
Yes.
woman who's pregnant.
And who is like heaving constantly.
Yeah,
it was not good, guys.
yeah,
It was
so-
not good.
So that was our introduction to British summer, and it didn't go very well. But the weather was beautiful there. We did.
It was, and we did do like thankfully I kind of had a break in the illness for a couple of days, and we were able to kind of go out and and gosh, where was the pub that we went? We met someone, a gent that you knew, and he took us to
The Georgian in
Suffolk.
In Suffolk, yeah, it's still
Incredible.
the oldest coaching inn still open in London.
Incredible.
Beautiful
So
setting. It's actually
beautiful.
owned by the National Trust.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's owned by the National Trust. They run it as a pub.
So
But you
like
can't eat there, but you can drink there.
Yeah.
And we met a guy who used to write for Anglotopia, and had a lovely visit. And it was the whole trip was very Britishy, summery, but we didn't really know that because we were kind of in our own little world. Because I was trying to get a job.
and honestly, I was so ill.
And she was so ill.
ill.
We didn't
So bad.
we didn't have time to sightsee or anything.
No.
So I was the company I was interviewing with had me come in the office for the week and like do interviews, do a little work, and like get an idea. And I don't want to give a spoiler for the book, but I did get the job, but we had to turn it down because she was so ill. It was
I could not do a transatlantic move, and
a pregnancy all in one go. So
And we
just
had
decided to wait.
and we had such difficulties starting a family that it was just we couldn't.
I remember
unfortunately.
we had a lovely dinner with our friends.
We did.
And
We had a great dinner.
at the Skylon restaurant. I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah, I read somewhere that they said that the center where that all is going to be close to like
Yeah, 2021. Yeah.
2021.
At the National
Like
Theater
we respect,
Center.
please do what you need to do,
But it was very brief. We came home and we were so in our little world. So then I think the next time,
and then a baby came.
then the baby came. 8 months later.
Yep. And then you were back for the royal wedding, which was
That was in April. That wasn't really summer.
No, but it's warm.
That was right after he was born.
Yeah, he was like 6 weeks old.
The weather was beautiful. I wouldn't call it summer though.
Okay, fair enough.
Um,
But then we went back.
but then we went back
The summer, British summer.
in 2012 for the Diamond Jubilee.
Yeah, that was an incredible trip.
That was proper summer. We were there over May and June,
Amazing,
and
guys.
we really, because the Diamond Jubilee was going on, and there was an atmosphere in the air that was like peak British summer. Like there were Union Jack bunting everywhere. There was celebrations. There was lots of tea and cakes, and there was all the celebrations that were going on in London. We
so many cream teas, you guys.
Yeah,
we did so many cream teas. Like I practically had to be rolled onto the plane.
In the first part of the trip, we traveled around Oxfordshire. We went to Bath. We did Somerset, and then down to Dorset, and then to London.
William learned how to walk on that trip.
He did. I have video of him at Terminal 5 walking.
Well, he learned at the old Swan and Minster, right? Yeah. They had it's really sweet, and it's so very British. They have, the front of the hotel is really beautiful. It looks like it's kind of like a manor house. Is that would you describe it?
It's an old Oxfordshire farmhouse.
Beautiful, and a really pretty gate, and like they had cobblestones like up to the door. And, like, he just got up one day and just off he went, like, back and forth. I was just like, oh, my God, he's walking.
And now he's mowing our lawn.
Yeah, by choice, under supervision.
He's 9 years old and he wants to earn a computer, so he's mowing the lawn for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and my biggest memory from that trip was, on the one hand, it was great. It was lovely to experience Britain like that. But it was also hot. And we were not prepared for that heat.
No, because it gets really crazy hot in Chicago.
It does. It never gets as hot in England as it does here. But
it used to, but the past couple of years, they've had some pretty significant heat waves.
Still, this doesn't get 105 like it does here. But so we had a real hard time. Our son was horribly jet lagged for the first half of the trip, and that was misery.
Wow.
And there's a reason why he hasn't been back.
No, we took him back like
once when he was 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it was just so hot, and because those old stone buildings, they just absorb the heat, and then the heat doesn't leave at night, and we were just so
And
hot.
most of the places we stayed were not air conditioned.
Yeah, and then I think by the time we stayed at Up Down Cottage on that phase of the trip, things
The heat had finally started.
The heat
to break.
had broken, and the cottage was cool.
And we were able to open windows.
William started to sleep.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And so then we did summery things. We went to castles and stately homes and National Trust properties. We did a canal boat ride.
That was amazing.
There's a
really
video.
go do one of those.
Yeah, there's a video on the Anglotopia channel where you can see that. And
he'll link.
I'll link to it. And we had been to England so many times already at that point in our travel career, but we had always gone in the winter and the bumper months, so we never really experienced it when it's in full bloom. It's so beautiful. Like when we went to Stourhead.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories is we were staying at a guest house or like a B&B, or I don't know what you want to call it, in Bath. And it was not.
It was a B&B.
It was not the best experience we've ever had.
We will not name and shame.
No, absolutely not. But so it was like a Sunday afternoon, and it was blisteringly hot.
This is
still.
one of my favorite memories.
And along the river Avon, right?
Yeah.
That runs through Bath. Haha. Yay, Jackie gets an A for geography.
The Parade Gardens?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's the Parade Gardens.
We had like done our shopping and our sightseeing, and it was so hot, and it was late afternoon, and we were like, well, we don't want to go back to the B&B, like what are we going to do? And we like kind of wandered into the Parade Gardens, and they had
Which you have to pay to get into, which we were like, okay.
That's fine.
Whatever.
You know. But they had a gazebo, like a big one, like an old one, and it had a brass band
playing summer music,
and people had picnic blankets
out. And there was a stand selling tea, and
it was amazing.
We sat down and read the Sunday papers.
We did, and we,
and
it wasn't, and William could toddle around. There were kids toddling around, and I just remember it was one of those. It was very relaxed. Very comfortable. Everybody was just really happy to be there.
The music was nice. It was peak British summer, and it was great.
As a river went by. Like, it was amazing.
That was a fun memory.
Yeah, that was a really, really good... We had a great time that afternoon. And even William had a good time. I mean, he wasn't... he was what? Like, maybe 1.5, but,
Yeah. And then we went to London for the Diamond Jubilee stuff.
Yeah.
And then the weather had, like... We started in British summer, then we ended in British autumn.
Yeah, oh my gosh. The day of the Jubilee, the weather was crazy.
It was so cold and rainy, and the poor queen out there on her boat. Like, we were just... Yeah, so that was the end of our British summer memory for that trip.
Yeah.
So then the next time we were there over the summer, I think...
Well, same trip. We did Oxford, too, in that trip.
Well,
remember?
We started in Oxford.
And we Oxford in the summer.
We were there for a day.
But Oxford in the summer was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
When is Oxford not beautiful?
So
I gotta be honest.
We didn't enjoy it.
I enjoyed it.
Yes. I think the next time we were there in the summer.
They can't hear you if you put your hand over your mouth.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it...
Well, okay, I went to Oxford, the Oxford summer course. That was in 2016?
Something like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I went, I partnered with an advertiser we had at the time to do one of their Oxford summer courses at Worcester College. Or Worcester College,
Yeah, get it right, come on.
I still can't get it right so many years later. And that was in July. And Oxford in July, not jet lagged. I was there I was in Oxford for a week, and it was glorious. I mean,
I was home with kids.
She stayed home with the kids.
Womp womp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the thank yous.
No problem.
And it was heavenly. It was hot. But thankfully,
notice a trend here.
It wasn't too hot. And then, so I was in Oxford for a week.
But you gotta talk about why it's so amazing.
Okay, well,
Like, what about it?
I'd say the number one reason it's amazing is in July, the day is so incredibly long.
Yeah, more sunlight
Yeah, I mean,
than Chicago, at least.
the sun comes up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and it doesn't go down until like 10:30, 11 p.m.
Because they're way north.
Because they're much further north than
Chicago.
Than Chicago is, or most of North America is. And so you have these beautiful, long, golden summer days. And it's just, it's amazing. And
Yeah,
I say in my book that the British at summertime is like peak Britishness. It's like when they're at their happiest, because they just Britain can be a dreary, rainy place the rest of the year. So the British people kind of live for the 3 months, and the weather can be great,
like Chicago.
like Chicago does. And the long summer days were great, like. Because in the mornings we would have 2 lectures for our course. The afternoon we'd usually have a tour of some kind or an activity. And then by 3 or 4 p.m. we were done. I still had 6 or 7 hours of daylight to do stuff.
Guys, no joke. He would send me these pictures walking around Oxford. So gorgeous. Like,
yeah,
not like getting my world's smallest violin out here, but he would I would have kids like melting down, and he'd be like, "Oh, I had the most glorious dinner by the river tonight," and I'm like,
"Screw you, bastard."
Hey, watch your language. That's gonna have to be a beep, but yeah, that happened. True story.
Yeah, and so like Oxford, the golden stone of Oxford, just looks so good in the summer.
It looks good all year.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
really, when does it not?
I love, my favorite thing to do on my work computer is I keep the Oxford Live webcam going 24/7, and it's beautiful and golden year round. But in July and August, it's great. And so then, even one day, I went for a long walk. I went and found J.R. Tolkien's grave, and walked to a famous pub and had a pub dinner by the river. And saw a ruin, and there was still sunlight at the end of the day. It was exhausting, but it was glorious.
But I think we've gotten slightly off topic here, because we're supposed to be talking about staycations. How would you translate those amazing experiences? Let's say, because we've gotten letters from so many people who have had to cancel their trip, unfortunately, because it's just not safe to travel right now. So how would you translate those experiences to home? I mean, because he can't be there, and that's unfortunate. So...
okay, well, movies. Let's talk about movies then.
Well, what about you had just mentioned your cam, your Oxford cam.
Yeah. There are lots of live webcams.
Yeah.
I'll put some links in the show notes. The Oxford webcam is my favorite.
Guys, he's got it on his computer all the time.
And then
for real.
There are some other ones that show the coastal areas.
Beautiful.
There's a chap down in Devon that runs 4 webcams. One of them is of the famous Dawlish seafront where the train is. And then they also have one where it's Teignmouth, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And you can see all the boats bobbing in the water. They're gorgeous. And
gorgeous.
Hopefully next year Anglotopia will have its own live webcam somewhere. But I don't want to reveal more because it's early stages of planning.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's a good way. If you just want to relax.
Hear the sound of the birds.
Hear the sound.
Anglotopia's got some.
Yeah. We've got. If you go to anglotopia.tv, we've got a few videos of English summer where you pick the video and then it will just play in a loop forever until you close the window.
So, for example, you could do maybe a canal boat ride while having a high tea at home. That's a very British thing to do, right?
Yeah, I don't have that video on there.
Sorry, folks.
But
maybe listen to the birds.
Yeah, there's one of the ones is Uptown Cottage in the summer, and it's on a loop. You can hear the birds,
Gorgeous,
you can
guys.
see the greenery, brew a cup of tea.
Or I think even sitting outside or having tea, if you have an outdoor space like a deck or a patio where you can sit and have a nice cup of tea. I feel like that's a very British thing to do.
Well, it seems counterintuitive to drink hot tea on a hot day, but it actually is very soothing.
It is. So why don't we talk about British movies, because that's a really great way to British staycation at home.
And we've actually done that fairly recently.
We have lots of British movies, guys.
There are several British movies that either take place in the summer or have bits of them that take place in the summer that like that really evoke that feeling that you get in a British summer.
Or just in general. I mean, great British movies with, that kind of give you a sense of being there.
One of them is a more recent one. It's the movie On Chesil Beach.
It's a very good movie.
That came out 2 years ago, I think.
Trigger warning, though. We should definitely give a trigger warning for that movie. Without going into it, do a little research. It's definitely...
there are some adult themes in it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way
But there's a big chunk in the movie that takes place in the English summertime when the boy and the girl main characters are sort of courting each other. And she walks through the woods in the summer to the cricket ground where he's doing the grass. And they go to the cottage where he lives. And it just perfectly, like... It has a feeling of English summer.
Yes.
When you watch it, from the sounds, from the look, from the way they filmed it. I really felt like I was sitting there in an English summer.
Absolutely.
Another one is the film Tamara Drew.
Yeah, that's a great one too. The most recent adaptation of it, right?
Well, it's a modern adaptation of
Yes.
Far From the Madding Crowd, but like with a very modern twist. It's based on a graphic novel.
It was so good. It's a fun one to watch.
It's been out for 10 years now, and it's a fun one. And a big chunk of the movie takes place in the summer. And
again, quintessential, really, really British.
Yeah, you've golden hues and Dorset and whatnot, and it very, very much evokes summertime. What else?
Far From the Madding Crowd, the actual.
Yeah.
That
came out a couple years ago as well.
With Carey Mulligan. Is that Carey Mulligan?
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very... Talk about golden sunlight.
Yeah.
Such a good
Even
one.
in the winter in that one, they really played up the Dorset light there.
Well, there is nowhere on Earth that has that same color of golden sunlight that I've ever been.
We haven't watched this one lately, but the movie About Time...
Love that. That's a great movie. Such a great movie.
The big chunks of that movie take place in the British summer, and
yes,
because then the house is on the coast in Cornwall, and it's gorgeous.
And just in general, you've got like classics. You've got like About a Boy. You've got
It's more of a Christmas movie.
Well, it kind of is, but it doesn't have to be British summer. It's a very London movie.
Yeah.
You've got the one with the bookshop with Hugh Grant and Julia.
Notting Hill.
Notting Hill. You've got, and I know that I'm pulling some really old ones out here, so like there are more recent, really great British movies, but there are lots of British movies out there, and you could do a British movie-a-thon, and maybe a British movie-a-thon and a British themed dinner. Like, yeah, or read a good British book, a book set in Britain. That's always fun too.
What about the movie Atonement?
Oh, great British summer movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of... It's a dark movie, but...
It's a very dark movie.
But the summer bits in that...
But it's sumptuous.
Or some... Yeah, that's the word I would use. Sumptuous.
The heat, too. It looks hot.
Yeah, you feel the heat off the screen. So,
He means temperature heat.
So brew a cup of tea or make a roast and watch a British movie. Speaking of roast, that's a good thing to do if you want to have a feeling of Britishness, is make a Sunday roast, which seems counterintuitive to do in the summer, but
we do it a little less in the summer. We do it more in the winter months,
but having a nice Sunday roast with, like a beef roast with
and
potatoes
honestly,
and duck fat and...
Honestly, most of the, it used to be that you couldn't find those ingredients here, but, more often than not, you actually can find them. And there's British Corner Shop, and, one of the things that we forgot to mention, too, is we ordered meat pies.
Oh, yeah, not from British Corner Shop, though.
No, unfortunately.
We ordered them from the...
fortunately.
we ordered them from Pie Society.
We want to spread our support around.
Yeah, we ordered them from Pie Society.
I was still employed at the time, too, so...
Yeah, we haven't had meat pies in a while now. No. Pie Society out of Georgia they make delicious meat pies.
So we did that like really early on in quarantine.
Yeah.
There's a pub
We'll
locally.
put a link in the show notes.
Yeah. There's a pub locally. It's an Irish pub, but they do a meat pie, and they're, at least in our area, they're really hard to find a good meat pie. And they had to close because of quarantine, and obviously we couldn't go out because of quarantine. So this was a good like meet in the middle. I will say because it was still really chilly here when we started quarantine, like
it snowed till the middle of
May. Which is really unusual. But we were able to have these amazing meat pies, and they were just, they were so good. There may or may not be sausage rolls hidden in the back of the freezer. I don't know. Dibs.
Yeah,
Just right
so
on dibs.
And then I guess the next thing you could do on your British staycation is to plan your eventual British summer trip.
Well, wait a minute though. You could also learn a British sport.
Yeah.
Or watch British sport. I mean,
yeah, the sports are going to be starting up again soon. It's be a good time to learn the rules of cricket.
I was going to say cricket. You could learn the rules of soccer. Soccer is really fun to watch. I will say,
yeah,
I'm not a huge TV sports fan, and there's not really any TV sport on right now. But
yeah, they're going to be starting up, and it's a good time to learn the rules because it's
fun.
It's not just the fun of watching the sports; it's experiencing the cultural significance of them. You know, like English summertime cricket is not just about the cricket; it's about the the social aspect of it, and going to the local cricket ground, and having it's very culturally important.
Well,
rather, who doesn't really matter who wins the cricket match.
No, but you could if you're in an area that it's safe to do so, and you're legally allowed to do so, things like picking up a soccer ball and kicking around a soccer ball, or tennis. Tennis is Wimbledon. They're not doing Wimbledon this year, but now's a good enough time to learn if you have a partner or a friend where it's safe to for you guys to be together. It's a great thing to do. Lots of just outdoor fun British sport that is really low contact. Golf. We don't really think of it as a British sport, but they
invented it. So
exactly.
The Scottish invented it.
Well, yes. So, there's lots of great sport that you can learn the rules of now, or if you're able to, that you can do it. So why don't we, here's a fun one. Why don't we talk about if you were going to do a staycation afternoon or evening or day, what would you do? What would your day look like?
You go first.
Okay, so I would probably do British breakfast. We're going to assume that maybe I've done a little bit of a grocery order. So it's probably, yummy. Probably like toast and jam. And then I think I'd probably do something outside. Maybe like if I'm more urban, and I'm allowed to, I would take a walk, and maybe if it's warm and you've got flowers, admire the gardens. Walking through the neighborhood, like the Chelsea Flower Show kind of thing. Come back, maybe watch a movie or bake something British, and then definitely or read something British, and then late afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock, it's time for tea. So tea with scones with clotted cream and jam. If you can't find clotted cream, these are really interesting times. You can use whipped cream. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same. I know that, but we're just kind of having to make do. So if you can't find it, it's still really nice. And cucumber sandwiches and Coronation chicken, salad sandwiches. Yummy. So I'd probably do that, and then I think I'd probably cap my evening off by, some sort of British dinner, and probably a good British cocktail or two. It's quarantine. And probably some good British movies. I think that's probably how I would spend my British staycation day.
Sounds good to me.
Are you coming along for my staycation?
I'll hang out with her that day.
Okay.
Why don't we need to wrap it up because we have to go get our kids.
Yes, we do.
So why don't we end with each of our favorite British summer memory?
Okay. Well, I think I kind of shared mine, but I can think of another.
Okay, we'll think another while I'm talking.
Okay.
Okay, so my favorite British summer memory is, it's from when I went for Oxford. When I was planning the trip there, I saw that somebody we follow, they're called the Battle Proms concerts.
That's funny.
And they're outdoor concerts usually held in the grounds of a stately home that have British prom summery music, the kind of stuff they would play at the last night of the proms. And the thing that is their USP, their unique selling point, is that they have a Spitfire. So they have, British summery music, a Spitfire on a grounds of stately home. Okay, I'm like totally there. So there was going to be one at Blenheim Palace when I was in Oxford, and I was like, I couldn't book the ticket fast enough when I found that out.
Yeah.
But best laid plans. I think I write about this in the book.
British weather, folks. British weather.
Yeah. Bro, British summer is beautiful and wonderful. It could also be October in British summer as well. And so,
notice a trend here.
When I arrived at Woodstock at my B&B, it was pouring down rain, and the rain didn't stop. But the British are really good at adapting to living in the climate they live in.
They're hardy. So they're just like
they're used to it.
Gonna carry on.
They are used to it. Whereas here, let's say our outdoor summer concert up at Ravinia, if there was rain, they would have canceled it.
Well, like torrential rain like that, yeah, it would have been done.
The British, however, they are not going to let a little rain get in the way of their nice summer day out. So even though it rained all day, the concert was not canceled. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just still determined to go if it's not canceled. And so the hotel I was staying in was within walking distance to the palace grounds. So I just walked in the rain. And then I stood with my umbrella in the rain for 20 minutes while I waited for the shuttle bus that they were providing that takes you to where the concert actually was. And I put my chair out. I had my umbrella. And it was cold. It was like 50 degrees Celsius. Or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know what that is in Celsius. My brain doesn't
do metric.
Doesn't do metric yet. So I sat there, and the rain continued, and the band rehearsed. More people arrived. There was tea. People had picnics. People had tents. People had their chairs out. They were prepared. I didn't even bring a coat with me.
I wasn't with them, guys. I mean, I don't know.
I was going in July, and it was when I was in Oxford. It was hot the whole time, so I didn't waste space in my suitcase for a coat. I needed a coat because by the time it was near the start of the concert, I was already soaked all the way through, even with an umbrella, and I didn't have a coat. And then the temperature dropped into the 40s.
Yeah.
And
not fun.
So then the shivering started. And so then they started the concert anyway. They did the first half of the concert, and it was great. It was everything I hoped it would be. But then the news came that the Spitfire was canceled. Something else was canceled. And then I was soaked all the way through, and I was like, I am throwing in the towel. I did a sodden walk back to my hotel.
Had a
hot bath, and it took me quite a while to stop shivering. Only a little hypothermia in July in England. Yeah. But it was. I have pictures I'll link to in the show notes, but of me huddled with my umbrella in the rain.
I laughed when I got those texts. I was just like, "What are you doing?" What?
While there was great suffering while I was enduring this, I look back upon it with
oh, I'm sure you'd do it again in a heartbeat.
I would do it again in a heartbeat, absolutely. but I would never go to England in July without a jacket, a waterproof jacket at least. And I had prepared so well for this concert. I'd arranged to buy a collapsible chair to take and like all the things I needed for the concert. I brought snacks, but I didn't think to bring a coat because it's England in July. But now I know England in July means probably bring a coat.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I think one of my favorite memories is actually from the trip we don't talk about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so John was going to work every day, and I was kind of holed up in this flat. Nice, very nice flat, but there was a primary school across the street, and we had to have the windows open in the flat, or otherwise it was just like you wouldn't get a breeze through there, and it was just like, it's really hot. And I was very ill, and it was like, they're kids, like, they're lovely, but they're loud kids. And actually, the kids were actually really rude.
Yeah, it was Lord of the Flies over there.
Like, rude, foul-mouthed kids, too. And, like, they would
heckle people who walked by.
Yeah, it was like, these were some tough kids. But anyway, that's not the memory. So, one morning I woke up, and I felt like it was like probably like one of my best days there. And I think we were either meeting our friends for dinner, or, like, we had to meet we had to meet your work chaps for dinner or something.
Yeah.
And so I had to be in, like, central London. And I remember I went in a little early. I took the tube in, and I had been, like, kind of researching online, like, how to, like, curb the nausea. And one of the things that it had said was, like, not eat constantly, but little nibbles through the day. And I was like, okay. And I was really nervous because I was like, I'm what, like 15-minute tube ride back to the flat. So if this goes really poorly, like, this could go really poorly. Not that I couldn't have taken a cab too, I guess. But, yeah, so I got off and I decided I had quite a bit of time, I think, a couple of hours. And I wanted to come in early, like, get my bearings. And I got off the tube station, and I thought it would be nice to wander around Harrods because there was air conditioning. And I was already like an oven, roasting pregnant, just. And so I got into Harrods, and it was very crowded, but it was cool. And I, like, started to get that sick feeling again, and I was like, okay, well, you need to probably eat. And so I went over to the food hall, and let me tell you, that can be just like a circus of horrors when you're newly pregnant with a newly pregnant, like, nose, because your sense of smell is just like. So I quickly grabbed a sandwich, and I grabbed what I found out on that trip ended up being kind of not a cure-all, but it definitely helped. I found a vitamin water. Like, we have them here. They're made by Coca-Cola. I don't think there's actually any health benefit in them. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but so I grabbed that, and I grabbed the sandwich and a bag of crisps, and then I was just like I couldn't be in the store anymore. I needed fresh air, and so I took my little picnic and I walked to Hyde Park, and I walked all the way up to the Serpentine, and
it's a long walk.
It was a long walk, but I felt that the more that I walked, the better I felt. So I walked, and then finally I sat down to eat my sandwich or kind of pick at my sandwich, and I sat under a tree, and it was nice and shady, and it was beautiful, and there were other people in the park, and I was able to eat, and it didn't make me sick, which, was amazing. And I remember, kind of embarrassing, I don't think I've ever even told you, I laid back on my bag, because I, had my bag with me, and I actually fell asleep in the park, under a tree, like, crazy pregnant lady, falling asleep, but it was amazing. Like, I had a meal there, and I feel like Hyde Park, like, you watch all of London pass through the park, and almost the whole world pass through the park, because you have tourists, and, like, there was a view of the Serpentine, and there were people with little paddle boats, and it was so beautiful, and it was so hot, but under the shade of that tree, it was, like, with the breeze, and finally a full stomach, like, that was it. Like, I was down, I was out, so, and it was great, because I managed to have a meal, somewhere really beautiful, have a little rest. And I got up and I remember learning that you can't get a cab in the park. Lesson learned. You have to go out to the ring road to get a cab, and I met you for dinner with, I don't remember who we went to dinner with that night.
The potential boss.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that was a great memory. That was
So-
I was really, I mean, London's pretty safe, but I was also very lucky that
British summer sounds so nice. I can't wait till we can do it again.
I can't either. But that being said, like, if you've had to cancel your travel plans, hopefully this gives you some ideas of, if you want to, how you can kind of staycation at home.
And try to remember that this will all be over eventually.
Yeah, it will pass.
It will pass, and we'll all be able to go again and
Yeah.
experience what we love about Britain and anywhere else that we wish to travel to.
And think about what that it means all the more, right? I think
Absence definitely makes the heart grow fonder.
well, and not only does absence make the heart grow fonder, I think there are life experiences that I'll talk about myself, okay? There are life experiences that you go through, and it makes the colors a little brighter, the flavors a little richer, the noises a little more robust, and it's learning to appreciate and really kind of savor those amazing experiences that you have. And to take the leap. Like, if you've been afraid to travel and you've never wanted to travel, you know, when after a while, when things come back to normal or whatever our new normal is going to look like, make the leap. Make the leap, have the experience when it's safe to do so.
Yeah, because that's really what's helped us get through all of this, is the nice memories that we have, and that we, you know, it was weird. Like, we hadn't gone for a couple years anyway, and we were really missing it. But there was that idea that you could always get on an airplane and go if you could.
Yeah, if you had the means.
If you had the means, which we didn't. But you could always, like, you know, I could always go to the airport, and there are like 4 or 5 flights from O'Hare a day to London, and you could always go there. And so it's such a shift in thought, knowing that you can't go there.
Nope.
And I know when we do finally get to go, that we will savor every moment all the more, because we know that it could be taken away again.
Yeah.
And it's just you take it for granted that the society we live in with international travel and the way and so open, we really all took it for granted. And
I think that's a generalization, though.
And I think that, you know, when it comes back, I think we'll savor it all a lot more.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, you know, as a species, we're all really living through an event.
So, but I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah, and, you know, just be kind to each other right now, and kind to yourself.
And hold on to your dreams.
Yeah. And
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming.
Hold on to Britain.
Hold on to Britain, and
a nice cup of tea, right? We'll make it all better.
And buy my book. You'll feel really good.
Yeah, hey, that's a good British thing to read.
That's a good British thing to read on your perfect British summer day. Is my beautiful new book.
Your staycation day.
Adventures in Anglotopia.
Guys, it was really good, and I'm not just saying that because I'm his wife.
Thank you.
No, it really was, and there were things in there that we've been together for a long time. There were things in there that I didn't know, and I was, yeah. And could I just say for the record, and then we'll just like, I am so proud of you in writing that book. That was a lot. That was a lot, and that's more than 20 years worth of travel that's went into writing that book.
Most of it with you.
Yeah, most of it, but not all of it, and that's okay. You know, sometimes it's venturing out on your own that makes the most unique memories.
She's the best part of the book, so.
No, I'm not. No, people don't want to see that. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
All right, well, that's it from Anglotopia for now. I don't know when we'll do another podcast, but we'll do one as soon as we can.
We'll definitely try, because we've got kids at home and dogs, and it's a little nuts right now, but
it's a nuts for everybody.
Exactly. So. That's right. We're all in this together.
It's not an excuse. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Stay safe. Be nice.
Be nice. Stay safe. Stay healthy.